Hello reptile friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is India, aka Anacondiac, and today's video is going to be on a really controversial subject, and that is whether or not the breeding of spider gene ball pythons should be banned. Also, if you can hear banging, I am really sorry. We are getting our roof replaced right now and it is a nightmare. It's a really big headache, but I felt this video was too important to wait a couple of days. I wanted to film it now. I wanted to get it out now. Now, there was outrage on Twitter after BARCZYK uploaded one of his videos this week talking about why he was upset that the IHS, which is the International Herpetological Society, banned spider gene ball pythons from its shows this year. It wasn't just spider gene ball pythons, they also banned enigma leopard geckos and jaguar carpet pythons, which have their own issues associated with the morphs. But for ball pythons it was just the spider gene. And for anybody that might not be familiar with spider gene ball pythons, the spider gene, which gives them their pattern and their coloration, is linked to a neurological condition known as wobble syndrome. So the 5 topics that we're going to cover in today's video is: number 1, what is the spider gene? Number 2, my own experience owning a spider morph ball python. Number 3 is what effects does the gene have on snakes? Topic number 4 is all about which morphs actually carry the spider gene. And topic number 5, which is arguably the most important, is all about the breeding industry and the ethics of breeding spider ball pythons. So with all that being said, let's get straight into the video, and that is with topic number 1, which is where I'm going to give you a brief overview of the spider gene and give you a bit more of an understanding about what it is and where it came from. So the spider gene was discovered in 1999 by Nerd, and it was actually discovered in a wild-caught ball python. And then the spider gene quickly became one of the most widespread and popular morphs because it does this amazing pattern and coloration which resembles a spider web. The spider gene is a dominant gene and causes both a coloration and a pattern mutation. Snakes with the spider morph can be recognised by their head stamp and also the kind of webbed pattern that they have, which is why they get their spider name, because it looks like a spider web. There are now so many morphs that contain the spider gene, from spider pieds to zebra bees to killer bees. Yeah, the possibilities are endless, and they are definitely one of the most beautiful snakes. They really, really are. So now you know where the spider gene came from, I'm going to talk about the issues that come with it. So linked to the actual gene, which means that as far as we know at the moment, every ball python that has the spider gene has a neurological condition known as wobble syndrome. Now, snakes that have the wobble may have it very, very slightly to having a really, really bad cases of it. And this can vary to just a bit of head wobbling, to difficulties striking their food, to full-on corkscrewing, which is really, really upsetting to see.
This is Reddy. He is my pastel champagne, and as you can see, let me put him down. He is very aimless, and you can see that head wobble. And he has an incredibly difficult time eating. We actually had to assist feed him twice before he would finally eat on his own, and it happens. Hi, honey.
So Daniela on Twitter sent me this footage of her lovely snake Buzz demonstrating a rather severe corkscrew posture. Now this is because Buzz might not be able to differentiate which way is up and which way is down because of the neurological effects of wobble syndrome. Not all pythons with the spider gene will have a wobble this severe, but unfortunately this is what life looks like for a very small percentage of pythons that have the gene. So now we've covered the basics of the gene, I'm going to be talking to you about my own experiences owning a snake with a wobble. So this is my little baby Cleo. Sorry if you can see any black spots on her, I've just got her out of her enclosure and she seems to have some eco-earth still stuck to her. So it's not mites, it's just eco-earth. Cleo is my spider-pied ball python and she is a high white. I'm going to tell you in a little bit more detail about how I came to have Cleo, and if you want to meet Cleo in a bit more detail you can check her out in my All My Snakes video that I will put a link to right here. So yeah, I've actually been quite hesitant to make a video condemning the breeding of spider ball pythons when I own one myself. I didn't want to come across as a hypocrite. So today I'm just putting myself out here. I'm going to introduce you to Cleo, and I bought her, you know, I paid good money for her. I like to consider myself a person that does a lot of research before buying an animal. I've never impulse bought anything, I always try and do as much research as humanly possible. But unfortunately I fell for the rumour that the high white aspect of the spider-pied morph cancels out the effects of the wobble. And I believed that, and I bought Cleo, and I'm kicking myself because although I did research, I obviously researched the wrong thing, it was incorrect. And because I paid money for Cleo, I have supported the breeding of spider morph ball pythons, which now I can't support. And although I love Cleo with all my heart, I am so glad she is in my life. I don't want any more of Cleo to be bred. I don't think that there should be more of her. Even though she is beautiful and I love her to absolute bits, there shouldn't be more Cleos in the world. There shouldn't. Snakes with a neurological defect should not be bred. She's calming down a bit more, so I'll see if I can... There we go. That is Cleo. She is very, very shy. She is. She is also very, very defensive. I've been bitten more times than I can count by Cleo. But yeah, when I actually got Cleo and I realised the rumour that I had bought into about high white spider pieds not being affected by the wobble, when I found out that was incorrect, I was devastated. And I know it was a lie because Cleo is most definitely affected. She is by no means one of the worst affected by the wobble, but it is definitely there. For Cleo, she only has a severe wobble when she's very, very stressed. So we have quite a strict routine and regimen with Cleo to make sure that her life is as stress-free as possible, to really reduce those symptoms. And I'm proud to say that she hasn't really shown any symptoms for a couple of months now. I am really, really happy. But we do have to make a lot of changes for Cleo that I wouldn't do with other snakes. Here we go, she's coming to say hello now. Once she's out, she does calm down quite quickly. There we go. Oh, no. And she's back again. So yeah, this is why I am basically outing myself to the internet for having a spider gene snake, because I don't want people to make the same mistake I did because of rumours and not enough education and resources out there. I felt like a complete idiot when I found out that I had inadvertently funded the breeding of spider gene ball pythons, and I don't want anybody else to make the same mistake, and I have heard similar stories from people on Twitter. So next I'm going to be talking to you in more detail about the neurological effects that the spider gene has on the snakes that have it. So symptoms of wobble syndrome are thought to be indicative of a central nervous system disorder. Some snakes with the wobble are able to do everything that they should be able to. They can eat, poo, shed and breed like normal, whereas there is a small percentage of snakes that are affected so badly that they aren't able to function normally and do what normal snakes should be able to do. Some snakes with the gene will have difficulties eating because they will have trouble actually striking their prey. They will miss a lot. I have actually experienced this with Cleo, but over the past couple of months, as the rest of her symptoms have disappeared, so has that one. So the effects of the gene are completely random. Some snakes with little to no wobble can develop more severe symptoms later on in life, and it can happen in the reverse way as well. snakes that have quite severe symptoms can seem to grow out of it with age. It basically seems to be completely random. You can breed a spider snake that has no wobble at all, and the offspring can have a really severe corkscrew. Stress seems to be a major cause of how severe the symptoms can be. And when snakes are exposed to situations that they might find stressful, such as handling and feeding time, their symptoms can appear worse. And that can range from having a more severe head wobble to, like I said before, having difficulty striking their prey because they keep missing. Some snakes also seem to have an issue with balance caused by the disorder, with some snakes not being able to differentiate which way is up and which way is down. So if they were flipped over on their back, they wouldn't know which way is up or down, so they wouldn't be able to right themselves, which is obviously like a really troubling situation for them to be in. And that is definitely a big sign that there is something not right. So I'm going to go and put Cleo back and talk to you in more detail about which morphs have the spider gene. Right, so I'm going to give you a list of some of the morphs that have the spider gene. This list will definitely not be exhaustive because there are new morphs that contain the spider gene cropping up with every new breeding season. On morph market alone, there's 1,377 snakes containing the spider gene for that sale right now, and that's just in America. So some of the most widely bred morphs that contain the spider gene are obviously spider morphs, spider pieds, bumblebee, killer bee, queen bee, butterbee, pewter bee, butterfly, cinna bee, spinner, spinner blast, coral bee, stinger bee, black bee, zebra bee, lesser bee, killer clown, fire bee, cali bee, bumblebelly, and bambi. So make sure that when you're buying a ball python that you know what genes are in the morph that you are looking at, because sometimes the name alone isn't enough of a clue to show you that there are spider genes in the snake. Now there are actually a few other morphs out there that have wobble syndrome that don't actually contain the spider gene. Those morphs are champagne, woma, hidden gene woma, powerball and super sable. So moving on, let's talk about the breeding industry and the ethics of breeding ball pythons with the spider gene. So there are a lot of people that say it is okay to be breeding spiders because in most cases the snakes can eat, poo, sleep, breed, shed completely fine and do everything that they should be able to do. Why would you risk it? Because if you know that you are producing snakes that have the chance to have really severe neurological defects that causes them to corkscrew and to have a low quality of life, even if it is a small chance because most of the other snakes are able to carry out their lives relatively normally, why would you risk it? If there is the potential to produce snakes that will have a low quality of life, it may not be every single snake, because most of them, like Cleo, she can have a perfectly normal life with just a few adjustments to reduce the symptoms. But there is always the examples with the bad corkscrewing with a really bad wobble, and you just know these snakes are not functioning and doing what they should be doing. If you are knowingly producing snakes that you know have the possibility to have such a severe neurological defect to cause them to corkscrew and have a low quality of life, then why are they still being produced? Why take that risk? And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, the answer is profit. Spider ball pythons can be used to create a wide variety of amazingly beautiful morphs, and as long as there is demand for these wonderful morphs, they will continue to be bred. And that is what is so wrong with this entire situation. Snakes that have this neurological defect that can have a really low quality of life are being sold for profit with little to no consideration of the fact that they have this neurological defect and it's passed off as well. They can eat, poo, sleep, breed, shed normally, so they're doing everything that they should be doing. They're fine. It's not fine. They have a neurological defect. Remember that wobble syndrome is completely random, and when they produce a snake and sell it that appears to be fine, when it goes to its new home later on in life, it could have a really severe corkscrew. So just because the snake that you're selling right now seems to be fine doesn't mean that it's always going to be so. I've even seen people commenting on Twitter that they think that the wobble is cute, or even that it gives their snake more personality, and that is just so totally wrong You're calling a neurological condition that has the potential to ruin a snake's life cute. You're calling a defect cute. I think a lot of people kind of gloss over the issue of wobble syndrome in spiders because they want a cool looking snake with an interesting morph. Breeders will continue to produce the spider morphs as long as people want them and are willing to pay for them. So if you buy one, you know, you might think, well, it's already been bred already, you know, it's just, it needs an owner. But it's not. By giving your money for a spider morph, you are telling the breeders that people actually still want these snakes. And obviously that's not the case if you adopt one. There are plenty of ball pythons that need homes, and definitely some of those will be spiders, and that's a different case. If you're adopting one, then as long as you're able to give it a wonderful home, that's fantastic. Please do, and please do your research on how to look after snakes that have wobble syndromes and be prepared for the challenges that come along with that. Because by paying for spider morphs, you are paying for the practice of producing snakes that have a neurological defect but a pretty colour. For breeders to be producing snakes that sacrifice their neurological health just for the colour and the pattern of their skin is really messed up. Because why would you want to sacrifice the snake's health just for what it looks like? And when we pay for the snakes, that's what we are funding. We are funding the production of snakes that are not healthy, that have this defect. I do want to do a part 2 to this video which will go into detail on how to look after a snake with wobble syndrome from my experiences looking after Cleo. So I want to be able to share the tips that I have learned with you guys that have either done the same thing as I've done, which is make uneducated decisions and bought a spider python anyway, or for those that are looking to adopt a spider python. I will never knowingly buy another snake that carries the spider gene, and I hope this video has convinced a few people to do the same. As long as there is a demand for spider gene snakes, as long as people are buying them, then breeders will keep producing them. We can help to combat that by not paying money for any of these snakes. By doing that, we can interrupt the cycle of supply and demand. When there is no demand, when people don't want to buy them, then hopefully the supply of these snakes will gradually reduce and people will stop breeding them. We ourselves, just normal people, can be the change that results in spider ball pythons not being bred as much. We can make a difference, and that starts with us. It starts with us making informed choices about where we get our snakes from and making ethical decisions about whether it is okay or not for us to buy snakes that have a nice pattern and a nice coloration, but at the sacrifice of their neurological health and the health of the snakes. If you could share this video so more people can see it, that would really be wonderful. I would really appreciate that. What we buy, what snakes we buy, really does make an impact on the supply and the demand for these snakes with neurological conditions. Sharing is caring, people. Share away, spread the education, and let's get spider ball python breeding banned. We can do it together. We can do it. I believe in us. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and please tell me what you think in the comment section down below, but please try and keep the discussion civil because I know it is a touchy subject, and let's be real, not everybody's going to agree with me. Not everybody is going to like this video, and I'm sure I will be told so in the comments. But please, for me, try and share this video with at least one more person. And if you did like the video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. You can also click on the little bell notification button and then you'll never miss one of my uploads. I will see you soon for another video, guys. I really hope that I have managed to change at least one person's mind today about the ethics of breeding spider ball pythons. I'll see you next week for another video. Bye, guys.